Hey everyone, Justin Allan Montgomery with Pro Course Start. Today I want to talk about your flagship course and why it is the most important continuing education course that you are going to develop in your continuing education course business. Okay. So your flagship product is going to be the first course that you developed. Therefore, it needs to make a solid impression on your first students. It needs to align with your business's value proposition. Now, your business's value proposition is essentially the value that you propose to the world, right? It is what pain point you are solving within your profession. That could be a knowledge deficit, it could be starting a business, it can be learning a new skill, it can be anything, okay? Maybe passing a difficult certification exam, whatever it may be. It needs to align with a pain point that you've identified within your profession and then your solution to it. That's your value proposition. The Pro Course Start value proposition is helping you stop exchanging your time for dollars by helping you build a continuing education course business. All right. My goal is to help you build a passive income stream, to help you build a continuing education course business so you can build that passive income stream so you can stop exchanging your time for dollars. That's my value proposition. What is your value proposition? What's the value you propose to the world within your continuing education course business? Critically important, okay? So you need to understand that. You need to understand how to create that value proposition. Once you have the value proposition, you can then develop your flagship course. Your flagship course revolves around that value proposition, okay? Your flagship course should deliver the solution that you've identified when you are building out your business. When you are building out a continuing education course business, you need to basically list out of pain points and problems that you see within your profession and what outcomes that you want to see your students have based off the solution that you develop. Okay. So you identify the pain problems, you develop a solution, and then what's the outcome going to be? So when you are building out your continuing education course business, write out a list of those things. Okay. And your flagship course needs to align with all of that. So the entire ecosystem of your entire continuing education course business revolves around that flagship course. If you are a physical therapist, for example, and you identify a specific pain point that you see within physical therapy, you deliver a solution to that problem. Your flagship product needs to be that solution. And then everything else that you build around that business revolves around that flagship course product. Every single additional product, every complimentary service, your membership, a mastermind, a high ticket offer, ebooks, etc. All of it revolves around that flagship course. It is extremely important you spend as much time as you possibly can building out that flagship course. When I mentor with people on how to build a continuing education course business, the biggest thing that we talk about is building out that flagship course. With the Pro Course Start Launch Accelerator, I help people build a CE business from start to finish within a 3-month period. The majority of the time within that 3 months is building out that flagship product, because it is so important. You build your entire CE business around that course. Now, remember, you're not just building a course, you're building a CE business. Okay. That's a very, very important consideration to have. And most people don't realize that. Most people don't do that. They don't build out the CE business. They just build up the course and they expect that it's going to sell. It doesn't work that way. You have to build out the CE business. All right. And the CE business revolves around that flagship course. So spend a considerable amount of time building out your flagship course. It is the initial course within your CE business. I typically advise people to spend at least 6 to 8 weeks building out that product and ensuring that it is edited perfectly, that the content is robust in nature, that when people take that course, they want to take other courses from you because it was just so well done. secondary courses that you develop don't have to be as good as that flagship course. Okay. They really don't, because once you establish your credibility through your flagship course, other products don't have to be as edited as well. Okay. They still need to deliver value, obviously, because you want to increase the long-term value of every single customer, which means you want every single student that buys your flagship course to buy additional products from you as well. But they don't have to be as robust as the flagship course. Now, how long should that flagship course be? I get that question a lot. How long should my first course be? In my opinion, it should probably be 4 to 6 hours long. Anything less just is watered down. If it's more than really 8 to 10 hours, it's probably going to be too long, and that could be separated out into additional courses, unless the problem that you are solving, that you identified during the business startup process, unless that problem is very, very complex and very pervasive, then the course should probably be a little bit longer. But in general, your flagship course should probably be about 4 to 6 hours long, no more than 10, really no less than 4. The course creation process. How do you actually build out your first course? I get that question a lot. And I talk about it in the Pro Course Start Blueprint, but it's not a very long section of the course because it's really not complicated. Building out a continuing education course is a pretty simple thing. You know, most professionals have developed PowerPoints. They have done presentations when they were in school. So it's basically going to be the same thing, more or less. So if you want a straight to the point plan on how to build a continuing education course, this is what you do. Number one, you create an outline. All right. Create an outline of what it is that you want to talk about. You can use ChatGPT or Gemini to help you with that. All right. Create the outline. Then create a slide deck, PowerPoint presentation, basically. Flush out all of the content in your outline throughout the slide deck. Now, how long should that slide deck be? In my opinion, probably 75 to 100 slides minimum. All right. To build a 6 to 8 hour course, you're probably going to need 150 slides unless you just talk a lot. So build up slide deck. 100 slides, 150 probably is going to be more realistic. You build the slide deck out. Once the slide deck is built, 90% of the course is done. Then at that point, what do? You simply record the audio. You just record in a microphone. Do not record on your laptop. Do not record on your phone. Buy a nice mic, okay? Like spend $100, $200 on a nice mic. You can use really a lot of programs to record a course with. You can use like Audacity, for example. It's free. You could even use Zoom if you wanted to. All right. Record a lecture. So basically you are going to load up the PowerPoint slides on your computer. So just load up the slides on your computer. All right. And you're just going to record you basically giving a lecture slide by slide. I typically recommend recording anywhere between 15 to 45 minute sections. And then when you save that file, label that file slides 1 through 20, slides 38 through 55 or whatever. Okay. And as you're recording, you're probably going to be editing the PowerPoint slide as well, because once you begin talking, some more information might come in your mind. You might see some errors on the PowerPoint slide. So just, do the corrections on the slides or whatever and save it. And then you're just going to do that section by section by section until the entire course is recorded. Do not record on PowerPoint, okay? It is very difficult to edit that content, okay? It's hard to extract it and then edit it and then put it back into the slides. Record it separately. So record the lecture from the PowerPoint slides, all right? Now you have your PowerPoint slides, you have your slide deck that should be fully edited after you record it, and then you'll have a folder full of all the audio files of the lecture itself. The majority of the course is done at that point. What you can do then is you can either edit it and put it all together yourself, or you can hire an editor. I usually just hire an editor because it's not worth my time doing that. And so you can just give the audio content and the slide deck to a video editor. You can just hire someone off of Upwork.com, for example. Okay. They'll probably charge you $750 to $1,000 to do the full edit. They will basically take your slides and match it to the audio, and then they'll create a video of your slides on the screen and then the audio of you just talking, and it'll just go slide by slide into videos. Then they'll splice those up into sections based off the sections of your course. So chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. And that's pretty much it. And then once you have all the videos, you upload it to your course hosting platform. And that's it, guys. Like, it's super simple. All right. So that's how you develop the flagship course itself. That's how you really develop any course, really. So develop all that content, upload it, and now your course is pretty much ready to go. Spend the time to make sure that flagship course is solid, because all the content in your business is going to revolve around that flagship course. So ensure that you identify a solid value proposition in your business. You identify all the pain points within your profession that you're going to solve within that flagship course. And then all the content that you build, videos, articles, etc., all the content you're going to promote in your CE business should align with that flagship course in some way. All right. Basically, that flagship course becomes the compass of your entire business. So it's very, very important that your first course is the best course that you make. It's really simple, guys. It's really not that complicated. So that's how you build your flagship course. That's why your flagship course is so important. If anyone has any questions whatsoever, please email me, Justin@procoursestart.com. Thanks.